A 42-year-old man, dead. The cause? Suicide. Why? In the early 1950s, homosexuality was very much illegal in the United Kingdom. Alan Turing, one of the most influential humans involved with the creation of computer science, admitted to the police that he had been involved in a relationship with a 19-year-old man after being arrested and tried for gross indecency. Consequently, Alan Turing was faced with a life-changing decision. Turing had the option to choose between imprisonment or a temporary probation under the condition that he receive hormonal treatment for libido reduction. He chose the temporary probation, but unfortunately, it proved to be too much for Turing to grasp. Receiving many injections of synthetic estrogen hormones to neutralize his libido for a year affected Turing dramatically. He became greatly defenseless and impotent. As a result, his life ended on June 7, 1954. The autopsy reported that 4 ounces of a fluid that smelled and was similar to cyanide was discovered all throughout Turing's body and vital organs. In addition, the coroner concluded that Turing's death was caused by asphyxia due to cyanide suicide. To this day, Turing's death remains seemingly controversial, but his life lived is clearly one filled with legacies that will continue to impact our world for generations to come.
Alan Turing was born on June 23, 1912 in London. Turing's father, Julius, held a position in the Indian Civil Service in British India at the time of his birth. However, despite the recurrent need for Julius to travel, both him and Alan's mother wanted their children to be raised in England. Since his father's civil service position continued to remain active, it caused Turing's parents to be forced to move between England and India frequently. Until his father's retirement in 1926, Alan and his older brother John lived in several different foster homes. Turing's parents later enrolled him in St. Michael's, a day school, at the age of 6. The headmistress recognized Turing's intelligence very quickly. In 1926, at the age of 13, Turing began to attend Sherborne School in England. Turing began to develop his love for math and science while there.
Turing eventually started to make connections with another student while enrolled in Sherborne. This student, Christopher Morecambe, gave Turing a personal companionship which he had desired for several years. Unfortunately, Turing and Morecambe's relationship ended in 1930 when Morecambe died very suddenly. His death gave Turing the conviction to do what Morecambe could not. Turing enrolled in King's College in Cambridge, England, and studied there from 1931 to 1934. In 1934, Turing wrote a thesis to prove the central limit theorem, despite his lack of knowing it had previously been proved in 1922. As a result of his thesis, he was elected to do a fellowship at the King's upon his graduation. He completed his fellowship in 1935.
Afterwards, in late 1936, Turing's paper on computable numbers with an application to the Einstein problem was published while he finished a 2-year graduate program at Princeton University. On computable numbers presented the idea of a ubiquitous machine known as the universal Turing machine, which was simply a single machine that could accomplish any task by being provided the appropriate program. The central concept of the modern computer was based on this paper. Thus, many historians consider Turing the native father and leader of theoretical computer science.
Britain declared war on Germany on September 3, 1939. Prior to World War II, Britain's code-breaking operations worked out of London. However, when war was announced, code-breaking operations moved to Bletchley Park in Buckinghamshire, England. Alan Turing began to work in secret for the British Cryptanalysis Department, specifically for the English government code and cipher school. The code-breakers, including Turing, worked long hours to try and break the German naval code. Initially, the employees of the cipher school used books recovered from sinking German naval ships and raw mathematical talent to break the codes. However, their efforts proved to be inconsequential, and they later started to rely on a Turing machine. During this critical time period, Turing was considered the leader of the Allies' work in breaking the German codes. Throughout the war, there was a massive need for an accessible wireless communication system. After a series of unfavorable cipher machines, Enigma A was brought to the market in 1923. Enigma A was a large and heavy typewriter and weighed over 100 pounds. Soon after, a similar machine known as Enigma B was developed. Both of these, however, were not attractive for military use due to their hefty sizes.
A lighter and more desirable Enigma C later emerged. Its new design featured a lamp panel in replacement of the large typewriter feature. In 1927, Enigma D was introduced. This version also proved the need to evolve, for it did not contain a reliable plug board, making it more vulnerable for enemy forces to solve. In 1934, German forces adopted an even newer, more convenient model known as Enigma 1. This version became extremely popular and was introduced on a much larger scale within armies and public authorities. During the war, an estimated 100,000 Enigmas were produced and used within many different organizations. The machines that survived harsh points during the war were eventually confiscated by the Allies, so the rotors could be rewired. Therefore, the Allies developed the ability to break these Enigma machines so they could be put to use in their advantage.
The German Army's broad goal for the use of military Enigmas were for them to demonstrate a highly unfeasible interference. This was done by the addition of a plug board, which accounted for an infinite number of possible key settings. Until 1932, very few attempts were made at deciphering the German Enigma machines. Around this time, Poland's Cipher Bureau initiated several attempts in breaking the German Enigma messages. While working on deciphering German codes at Bletchley Park in 1936, Turing created a hypothetical computing machine, now known as the Turing bomb. The bomb, in principle, could perform any given calculation. The device had a long tape divided into squares on which symbols could be written or read. The tape head of the machine moved to the left and to the right. The machine also included a table which described the order in which to carry out operations directly to the bomb. Turing's bomb became one of the primary tools, and the major automated one used to attack Enigma-enciphered machines.
55 years after Turing's suicide, a petition originated in August 2009 and acquired over 30,000 signatures from the general public in support of an apology from the British government for Turing's prosecution of homosexuality. Prime Minister Gordon Brown recognized the petition and the quoted appalling nature of Turing's treatment. Brown issued a formal apology to the public on September 10, 2009, declaring, "His treatment was of course utterly unfair. On behalf of the British government and all those who live freely thanks to Alan's work, I am very proud to say, we're sorry, you deserve so much better." In late 2011, an online petition was created to pardon Turing for his conviction of gross indecency. During July of 2012, a bill was introduced to the House of Lords for a pardon regarding the offenses Turing was convicted under in 1952. Later that year, physicist Stephen Hawking, along with others, called upon Prime Minister David Cameron to act on the pardon in a letter to a London-based newspaper. That October, the government decided to support the bill. The government then proceeded to grant a royal pardon, and on December 24, 2013, Queen Elizabeth II signed a posthumous royal pardon for Turing's gross indecency conviction, which went into effect immediately. The Queen officially announced Turing as being pardoned in August 2014.
Alan Turing was obviously a powerful, yet only slightly regarded pioneer in the foundations of theoretical computer science. Turing proved to be a persuasive leader during World War II by deciphering German Enigma codes with his inventing of the bomb machine. Turing also portrayed a remarkable legacy with his redundant conviction in 1952 and his pardon in 2014, and illustrated a strong character throughout his lifetime. Without either Alan Turing's leadership or legacy, the world we live in would most definitely be a different place. Had Turing not worked so strenuously on deciphering codes and creating the bomb machine, World War II could have continued for many more years. The Nazi reign may have potentially continued if Alan Turing had not depicted his leadership and legacy throughout the war effort. Without the key innovator of computer science, our world would be completely different. Alan Turing has most certainly made one of the greatest contributions to our world with his exertion of paramount leadership and legacy throughout all of humanity.